Welcome my Super Students YouTube channel followers. Today we will see about the biology unit 2, the biology grade 10 unit 2 about plants, and let's start the section. Hi dear students, today we will see about the plants. So the subtitle or the subunit or the subchapter of these units are summarized or stated as followed. So 2.1, this is the characteristics of the plants, and also 2.2 there is about non-flowering and flowering plants, and 2.3 there is about structure and function of plant parts. 2.4 there is about the reproduction in plants, and 2.4.1 non-flowering plants, flowering plants in pollination, and also about seeds and seed dispersal and germination, and also about photosynthesis and transport in plants, and also response in plants and medicinal plants, and also renowned botanist in Ethiopia. So today we will explain each of this subtitles as we can. So first we will start about the characteristics of the plants, and we will explain and elaborate those of the characteristics of the plants. Based on the book, there is a clear explanation about the characteristics of the plants as follows. So we will explain this idea clearly. So first there is a characteristics of the plants as the book says. First, the word plant includes the range of different organisms which share many characteristics in common, and also those of some their characteristics are common with other living things, because those plants are one of those living organisms, and they exhibit or they perform the characteristics of the plants, because those plants are the living organisms. So those plants have different major characteristics, and also there are different characteristics that are distinguished from other living organisms. So we will see those characteristics definitely and clearly based on the book. So those plants are the living organisms, as in the previous say that. So those plants are living things, and like other living things, plants are grow, reproduce, and also respond to change in the environments. And also plants are the multicellular organisms, because cells are classified into unicellular organisms and also the multicellular organisms. So plant is one of the multicellular organisms. To explain this idea, unicellular organisms are the organisms that are made up of one cell, but multicellular organisms are the organisms that are made up of different cells or more than one cells. So those plants are made up of many cells, and also they are eukaryotic. So what does the word eukaryotic mean? So to differentiate those cells, there are two. Generally, there are two types of cells. Those are prokaryotic cell and also eukaryotic cells. So what's the difference between prokaryotic cell and also eukaryotic cell? Eu means true. Pro means first. So to plant is classified as the eukaryotic cell. So eu means true, Karyotic means nucleus with karyos with karyos means nucleus. So those plants are the eukaryotic organisms, or the true organisms, or the true cells. So the cells are well defined. Those plant cells have well defined nuclei and also membrane bounded organelle. So eukaryotic means true cell or true karyotic or true nucleus, which means double membrane cells when membrane bounded, the cells that contains membrane bounded organelles. So the plant cells have a rigid cell wall made primarily of the cellulose, as the cell wall. Cellulose is one of the ingredients of the cell wall, which is the essential and vital to made or to produce the cell wall, which protects the plant organisms and plant body, or the covers the plant, and it protects from different dangers or from different damages for the plant. So next it says the plants are autotrophic or self-feeding, which means the plants are one of the autotrophic or the self-feeding, because organisms are distinguished as by the feeding status. We distinguish those organisms generally to autotrophic organisms and also the heterotrophic organisms. Auto means first, auto means self, trophic means producing of feed ወይ ደግሞ feeding, or trophic means the producing of feed. So auto means self, and also the other organisms are heterotrophic, or heterotrophic organisms are the organisms that are reliant to other organisms to get a food. So plants are not dependent on other organisms, but they deliver food for other organisms. So plant cells are what? The self-feeding organisms. And also plant cells contain the green pigment, which is known as chlorophyll, which enables them to absorb sunlight and produce their own food. Thus they are also named as what? Producers. So the plants are producers because they produce food and they deliver food for other organisms, and not only producing food, but also they deliver oxygen during the photosynthesis, and it is vital and essential for different organisms to survive and also to continue their survival ability. The plant has a green pigment, as the book says, which is what? The chlorophyll. And this chlorophyll is found in the chloroplast, which is one of the organelles of the plant. And this chloroplast contains what? The green pigment, which is chlorophyll. And in this chlorophyll there are different pigments. There are different specific pigments like chlorophyll A, chlorophyll B, chlorophyll C, and others, and different accessory pigments. And also these pigments are responsible for different wavelengths of the light, and they absorb the different wavelengths of the light from the sunlight, because the sunlight has as we see, the sunlight seems like a white color, but it's not actually a white color. When we disperse the white color through the prism, it disperses to different colors like the Vibgyor. So these Vibgyor colors like violet, indigo, blue, red, yellow, and others, these have different wavelengths, and this chlorophyll A, chlorophyll B, and chlorophyll C, and other accessory pigments are responsible for these specific wavelengths and absorb these specific wavelengths of the light, and this enables for the plants or for the plant organisms to produce their food as deserved. So the plants get their food easily and produce their food, and also not only producing their food, but deliver food for other organisms, and also deliver oxygen for other organisms. Next, the plants are what? Sessile. the plants are sessile. Sessile means they are not actually moving. They are not actually moving. Or sessile means they does not move from one place to another place. Plants have a movement, but the movement is in one place. So plants are not movable like human or like animals from one place to another place, but they have a movement which is known as tropism. The plant's movement is known as tropism, or it is the response of the plants to different situations, or to different directional movements, or different directional stimuli. So plants have a movement actually, but the movement is in one place, and this movement is responsible for the stimuli that comes from the one direction. So actually plants are sessile, or not moving from one place to another place. So the word sessile means the word sessile means they are not moving from one place to another place. So let's continue. And so next it says they cannot move by themselves, and they remain fixed at what? At one place, firmly and anchored to the soil by their root. They anchor, or they attach with the earth by their roots, but they does not move from one place to another place. However, it says, however, the leaves of plants can turn towards light, and some responds to touch, like the thigmotropism. So the like the grapes and other plants, they exhibit the touch tropism or thigmotropism. Next, it says the roots of the plants can also orient towards water or moist area, because plants can respond to different directional stimuli, like water, like sunlight, and also like different, like water, like sunlight, and also geotropism to earth, other and others. So plant responds to different stimuli. So these stimuli, or the stimuli, are they are respond in different ways from the plant. Next, it says the plant practices the sexual and asexual reproduction pattern, because plant they can reproduce by sexually and also asexually. For example, those flowering plants can reproduce sexually by the flower, and also thus different plants can have also the asexual reproduction, such as spores and also others. So plants can practice sexual and asexual reproduction patterns. So in different ways plants can reproduce as they like, or so the book says, the plant can reproduce by sexual and asexual pattern. So in lower plants such as mosses and liverworts, asexual reproduction through spores is a dominant form. Through what? Through the asexual reproduction. Through what? Through spores. On the other hand, means, however, or in the opposite, in higher end seed-bearing plants, such as gymnosperm and also angiosperms, sexual reproduction, which involves the union of gametes or sexual cells, is dominant and visible form. So those mosses and also liverworts reproduce by the asexual reproduction, not sexual, but it is asexual reproduction by spores. But those of higher organisms or higher plants, which are gymnosperm, like the conifers and also zagva, and angiosperms, that are the flowering plants, can reproduce by sexual reproduction system, which is gymnosperms are reproduced by cones, but angiosperms are reproduced by what? By flowers, by flower. So generally, what is the difference between sexual and asexual reproduction system? Sexual reproduction system means there is a combination of gametes or sexual cells, which means the male and female gamete combination. But in asexual reproduction, there is no combination of gametes. So that's the difference between sexual and asexual reproduction in plant cells. So that's the concept of this topic, and also there is some activities and also recalling things, but it's not so much necessary. So generally it's about plants. Generally the characteristics of the plants is that. So to summarize the characteristics of the plants, and we will summarize the characteristics of the plants, and we will proceed to the next section, which is the about the flowering and non-flowering plants. Generally plants are, it's obvious, they are living things. They are multicellular because they are made up of different cells, and also they are eukaryotic, which means they have a true nuclei, and eukaryotic means their nucleus is membrane bounded organelle. So it's not like that of the blue green algae, and also that of the bacteria, which are the prokaryotic organisms. And also they have a rigid cell wall, which is made up of cellulose, that's obvious. And also plants are autotrophic or self-feeding organisms, and because they absorb sunlight by using their chlorophyll. And also plants they are sessile, or they does not move from one place to another place like the animals, but they anchor by their roots with the earth, and this root is used for to trap different minerals and also water from the earth, and it enables for the plants to grow properly. Next, the plant can reproduce by sexual and asexual method of reproduction. That's obvious because the mosses and the liverworts, which are the lower plants that can survive in the moist area, most probably they are reproduced by asexually by using the spore, but those of the hair organisms or angiosperm and gymnosperm can reproduce sexually. So let's proceed to the another section, which is 2.2, flowering and non-flowering plants. So I think the characteristics of the plants is so obvious. So we will start we will talk about the flowering and non-flowering plants. So indeed the concept of plant is widely associated with that have flowers, root, stem and leaves, because as we all know that the plants can have a flower, root, stem and also leaves, having also a transport vessel, which means vascular bundles, which are known as the xylem and phloem. So these vascular bundles are very essential and vital for plants to survive and to get their feed. For example, xylem is used in order to transport the water from the earth or from the surrounding area of the plant to the leaves, and also this water is essential to produce plants. This water is essential for plants to get their feed, because water is essential in photosynthesis, because the photosynthesis equation is H2O plus carbon dioxide. It produces glucose and what? Oxygen. So these vascular bundles are essential. Xylem is essentially it is a dead cell, and it serves as a vascular bundle in order to transport the water from the root, in order to transport the water from root to the leaves ማለት ነው. But the other, which is phloem, is uses to transport the produced food or starch in order to transport, or in order to translocate the starch from leaf to other parts of the organisms, like root, like also from leaf to root, from leaf to stem, and other parts of the plant. So next it says lower plants are mosses and liverworts, that's obvious, and those mosses and liverworts are what? Non-vascular, or they have not any vascular bundle. Non-vascular means they does not contain phloem and xylem. So they does not have transporting system or conducting vessels, because they are lowering plants, because they are lower plants. As the previous section says, the vascular bundles are what? Essential and vital, because the plant cannot survive without vascular bundle, because if there is no vascular bundle, there is no transporting of water, and there is no translocating of starch. If the starch is rested or became stagnant on the leaf only, as the water gets into the leaf, the glucose easily dissociates, and also it cannot be used by the plants, and it becomes very unnecessary defection or unnecessary problem. So those vascular bundles are useful in order to translocate the produced glucose to different the produced glucose by changing into starch to different parts of the plant. Next it says the transporting system for nutrient, and it uses for nutrient and water transporting, that's obvious. The non-vascular bundles plants are generally small, yeah, and with limited height, and also they are restricted to moist and shaded areas, because they cannot easily resist the sunlight damage or sunlight striking. So the lower plants are also seedless, and they does not have flowers and fruits. Mosses and liverworts are the lower plants, and they are seedless. They does not have any seed, but they reproduce by what? By spore only. And if there is no seed, there is no fruit. So they are seedless, and if there is no seed, there is no fruit. There is no flower, and there is no fruit. There is no fruit. So they are seedless, and they does not have flowers and fruits, but they reproduce by what? By spores. But in plants there are also large number of plants or diverse number of plants, like angiosperms and also gymnosperms. So these gymnosperms and angiosperms are larger or very gigantic plants, and they have well developed root system and also leaves. But have this gymnosperms first. We will explain about gymnosperm. So gymnosperm is what? Like the zagwa and also conifer. They are reproduced by cones. They does not have any flower. They are well developed. They have their vascular bundles. They have root system and also stem and also leaves, but they does not have any flower. And they have a seed, but their seed is naked seed, which means the seed without cover. But have no flower, because if there have no flower, there is no fruit. So their productive organ is what? Cone, and instead of flower they use a cone. Moreover, the seed produced in their cone are what? Without cover, or they are naked seeds. So flowering plants are commonly also known as because gymnosperms are non-flowering plants, but angiosperms are what? Flowering plants, because they reproduce by flower. So these angiosperms are flowering plants, and they have a vascular bundle as of the gymnosperms, and they have a well-developed root, stem, and also leaves. But unlike gymnosperms, they have flower and they reproduce by what? By seeds within a fruit. They have a seed, and this seed is covered by fruit. First, what is fruit and what is seed? We know that there is because for plants seed is essential in order to grow and in order to survive and in order to be very gigantic. But there is a very significant difference between gymnosperm and angiosperms. In gymnosperm and angiosperm have a unique, significant similarity and also a significant difference. But their similarity is they have a well-developed stem and also a root system and leaves. But their difference is the gymnosperm have a seed, but the seed is without fruit or it is naked. So the seed is without fruit or it is naked. But when we come to the angiosperms, they have a seed and the seed is covered by what? By fruit. So the seed is covered by what? By fruit. So that's the difference between gymnosperm and angiosperms. Generally, we will comprehend those plant systems as by the picture. So plants can be divided shortly into vascular and also non-vascular plants. First, those non-vascular plants or bryophyta or bryophytes. Those bryophytes or non-vascular plants are the word says non-vascular. Vascular means the plants that exhibit a vascular bundle, which is xylem and phloem. But the non-vascular plants are those plants that does not have any vascular bundle like mosses and liverworts shortly. Because those mosses and liverworts are what? Lower plants. When you come to vascular bundles, those vascular bundles are the plants that have a vascular bundle like xylem and phloem that are essential and vital in order to transport the water and also nutrients from the root into the leaf and also from the leaf in order to translocate the starch to other parts of the plant. So those vascular plants also can be divided into two parts: seed bearing and also non-seed bearing. The plants that bear or that carry, bear means to carry. So the plants that bear or that carry their seed are known as seed bearing. But the plants that does not bear or does not carry their seed are known as non-seed bearing plants. So those non-seed bearing plants are generally known as pteridophytes or ferns. Pteridophytes or ferns. Those ferns are what? They are vascular, but they does not bear their seed. They does not bear their seed, but mostly those ferns can reproduce by spore dispersal method shortly. When we come to the seed bearing plants or spermato like angiosperms and gymnosperms or spermatosperms. So the seed bearing plants or the spermatosperms plants can be divided into two parts: angiosperm and also gymnosperms. So the gymnosperms are like the pine tree and also conus and also zagva. So the gymnosperms they bear their seed, they are vascular, but their seed does not have fruit. The difference between gymnosperm and angiosperm is that gymnosperms have seed, they bear seed, and also angiosperms they have seed and also they bear their seed. But the difference is gymnosperm their seeds are naked and they does not have any fruit. But in angiosperm there is a clear fruit that covers for their seed. So shortly the topic which says about flowering and non-flowering plants is that so we have already finished about this flowering and non-flowering plants, and dear students, thank you for your attention and also for your devoting your time for this section, and I'm ready to explain, and also I'm delighted to explain and to clarify this topic shortly. And in the next section I will come, or I will continue to explain about the next section, which is about the structure and functions of the plant parts. Until the next time, dear students, until the next time, goodbye.